I think that 2025 is going to be a rough season for growing. I've been feeling that since the fall, and we're into winter. We're on the southeast coast of North Carolina, but I don't think it's going to be just this area. What I think it's going to be is near the 33 parallel and down and above, definitely above. And so things are already showing the effects that it's going to be rough. As a matter of fact, I mean, I kind of knew it in the summer of last year. We had, every year it gets rougher and rougher. So what I'm saying is, um, if you find yourself as a first-time grower, whether it's in a greenhouse, a raised bed, or the garden, small garden, big garden, whatever, if you find yourself that, don't get discouraged. You find yourself just getting really discouraged, don't get discouraged, because we're just into a season. The sun goes into a cycle, and the seasons that we're in, the earth go through cycles, and seasons are different. Every year is different now. You can't tell from season to season. We're just turning into February, and the birds are chirping outside. I seen some slugs this morning. The insects are waking up. Everything is like, springing forth faster than usual. And I have noticed that our time seasons are faster than they used to be. You can't go off, okay, it's time to plant in March, for example, because you might have bad weather. Now we have to look at the weather. So I definitely think that our seasons are not what it used to be, and that things are not going to turn out like we planned on it. Like, for example, I've grown cucumbers all my life. Never have a problem. Easiest crop to grow is cucumbers. On a trellis, off the ground, away from the ground insects, and it produces a lot of blooms and a lot of cucumbers with just two or three, even one plant. 4 plants is like overwhelming. You just got more than enough, and you're giving to relatives and family. But last year, I only got a couple cucumbers off of the garden area at probably about a 4-foot section, 5 foot, 6 foot, somewhere around there, 4 foot high. But in here, I got more into the greenhouse than I did out in the garden, which is totally opposite what I'm used to. Because this is an enclosure and place here, you have more control, but then you have to think about the pollinators. Cucumbers need pollinators. Pollinators were all out into the garden, and they was all around the cucumber plants, but very few got onto the plants, and that was weird. The sun can make the plants sterile. Things have to be right. Just like the cauliflower here. I don't think it's going to do anything. It should be harvesting time right now, and it's really small because of the storms, the winter storms, the Arctic storms that we have gone through, the cold, the lack of sun. Different things affect different plants. The broccoli, doing great. Not as big as I was used to, but it's doing great. The cauliflower is like, well, honestly, I want to pull it up and give it to the rabbits, It could have defaulted a little bit on my end, but I do know that plants have a season that they're in, and that means that the time they start germinating and the time they grow up to maturity, and then there's that time frame for the fruit to the vegetable to develop. And if that time span goes past, then the plant it knows its time frame, and then it starts dying out. It starts dying back. It's not going to regenerate to the point that it's getting all the nutrients to the vegetable or to the fruit. It knows what it's doing. Plants know what they're doing. But I do believe that we're going to be having a difficult time. Every year is getting harder and harder. And I am a seasoned gardener. I've been gardening my whole entire life, and it becomes second nature. I mean, it's just like I could throw a seed in the ground and boom, I do little effort to it. Some say you got a green thumb. It's just really common sense when it comes to seeds and when it comes to plants. It's just common sense. But I've noticed my own self having a difficult time now. It's more nurturing. It's more watching after the plants. I've seen times I go out in my garden for a couple hours, walk through it, make sure to check the insects in the morning and afternoon, maybe throughout the day. But as far as working into it, it wasn't that much work. It was actually enjoyable to me. It's like being in the garden with God and having my conversation. It's being in my happy place, my peaceful place. Listening to the birds, watching the plants grow, just happy, happy, happy. But I noticed this past year, I had to work at it. So if you find yourself working at gardening, whether it's in containers, raised beds, the garden area, greenhouse, whatever you, or however you decide to garden, how you're going to garden, just know that we're in difficult times. The world is in difficult times. Everything is in difficult times. And so if we know this, that the world's in difficult times, the plants are going to be struggling, the sun is going through its seasons. We had a lot of solar flares last year. If we know this, then we won't be troubled. I've seen so many comments of people, just first-time gardeners, and just ready to quit and saying help, and within that, because they don't understand, because they're just learning. And you know what? I always say, don't quit, don't park, don't throw in a towel. Just because maybe you've grown for all your life, and then suddenly you're having a difficulty with the cucumbers or whatever plant it may be, or vegetable it may be, or maybe you're a first-time gardener and you're like, I can't grow anything. Don't give up. Don't park. This year is going to be a very difficult year. I have really considered. It's hard not to garden, but I'm really. It's like I want to do in here, but I'm not sure about the garden area. I got a lot of projects to do, but that kind of detours me to want to do that and not fight with the garden. Now, when I say fight, now it might do excellent this year, but it comes with that season. It comes with that time frame. Right now, usually, I had the garden peas planted, okay? Seeds in the ground. I've already had, right now, not very long, we're in the February, putting the potatoes out. The garden's not even tilled up yet. And I keep looking and I keep watching. We got more cold weather coming in. Very cold, extreme temperatures coming in. We might even get more snow, which is unheard of. Second time around, we got a lot of snow last time. It definitely affected the plants in here. A default on my end, because of the very last, after protecting the plants, I left them uncovered, didn't have any heat in here, because I really want to know for me. You see, when you garden, you got to know for you. You just got to do it. You just got to test run. If that don't work, try something else. If this don't, you just keep trying. It's like at a job. Yeah, eventually you learn it, but you have to try it to begin with. And you listen to people and their advice, and you do your research, and then you become successful at whatever you do. So, I'm into the greenhouse. Suddenly, every day is different here. Every day, the plants are saying it's time, and so it won't be long. This greenhouse will probably be pretty bare. But at the same time, usually I already have my seeds planted into trays, cell trays, for the next time of planting. And honestly, I haven't even got started, because I am listening to the seasons. I'm watching things, and if the season's not right, the plants won't do very well. I don't have any. I couldn't afford all the plants that I grow. But last year, I noticed even in my cell trays, the plants were struggling. So don't worry about the struggle. Just keep doing it, because seasons change. The carrots are out. This is going out. It looked good yesterday, but it's done. And so we're just going to walk around here. I really want to get that cauliflower out of here, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time, because you see, with plants, it only takes one day. It only takes one day, and then the next day you can tell something other, or maybe 3 or 4 days, And so it's not a loss, because I got rabbits, and the rabbits and the chickens love all this greenery. we're going to need another bag of garden soil. And by going ahead putting this on there before spring gets here, not only is it going to get the soil ready, but it's going to start breaking down that cardboard that's up under there that's going to give the plants nutrients. So now we're going to be adding our fertilizer, our commercial type big box store fertilizer, 10-10-10. Now I got 10-10-10 here. If I had my choice, I would use 13-13-13, right? But the first number is your nitrogen. So you got to make sure that whatever you're going to be planting in your bed, it might not need that much nitrogen. And so you want maybe go lower in ratio of how your fertilizer is set up. For example, 13-13-13. So, since it's going to be a couple months before we plant into this bed, possibly, because we're only in February, maybe a month, it's okay. I'm worried about how much fertilizer I'm putting in there. I just sprinkle it around. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to get more soil, probably a bag or two, and I'm going to put it on top of this because of the corn cobs and just to cover it up, to top it off, because it's going to settle down and I'm going to need my soil up higher. And so adding the fertilizer now is good because in 2 days we're going to be getting rain. So this is going to go ahead and start breaking it down so we'll be ready for spring. So the next thing we're going to do is add rabbit manure. And rabbit manure is organic. It takes about 2 or 3 months to break down, so we're going to go ahead and add it now so we can go ahead and get its nutrients into this soil. It's also got some rabbit hair and some hay in there. Hay might produce a little bit of grass, but when I say a little bit, because mine's just been very, very little, hardly any. But normally grass is going to come up, so you got to keep it weeded out. And you can put as much as you want to it in there or near your plants. You don't have to worry about it. Just throw it to the plants. It doesn't burn it. It's organic. Slow release fertilizer. So I did a video about how I catch my rabbit manure. This is dry manure, which is what you want. You can go ahead and throw it directly. You can put your hands onto it. It's not like, I would say, regular manure. Or you can store it into bags, like feed bags. So everything except the corn cobs has been done into this greenhouse. It's got the garden lime. It's got the fertilizer. The pH will be tested. It's got rabbit manure in there. It's got cow manure in here. Now the cow manure, I don't put a whole lot out because that stuff can be pretty expensive if you think that you need a whole lot. But I'm also backing it up with rabbit manure. But my experience with cow manure, if you're on a budget, is take the cow manure and put it around the plants. And that way the nutrients gets to the roots. And you're not just, moving it out throughout the soil here. And that's what I like to do. That way I'm only buying 2 or 3 bags and not probably 10 or 15 bags for what I need around here. So, but the reason I'm going ahead and added that, so those nutrients, everything will start breaking down to prepare for spring planting. And to the garden, it will be the fertilizer. It'll be the chicken manure from cleaning out the chicken barns, cleaning them out with the shavings, and they've been breaking down for months. The chickens are out there into the garden area that's fenced off with deer netting, and so they've been pooping. And my experience, if it's not a whole bunch of chicken manure, this little drop here and this little drop here, and they're scratching out there all the time, is breaking it down and does great for the garden. Because the garden is so big, I don't get to put cow manure out there because I got too many plants and it would be way too expensive because I'm onto a budget. I've got to manage my money correctly, right? We have to manage. And if we're going to grow, it can be pretty expensive. But if you take a little leads like putting the cow manure around the plant and not throughout, then that'll save you money. Taking the fertilizer and putting it out before you're planting and let it break down, that's going to help your plants. Put garden lime into your soil so it can be moving through there, breaking down to help those stems and the roots, and give them magnesium and give them calcium to help them have a blessed and prosperous season. Calcium is a must into tomatoes and many types of plants like bell peppers. Magnesium all the plants need, but it also lowers that acidity. So you know that helps with plants, or maybe your soil is too acidy. It will help bring it down, but it also boost your pH up to the right place where it needs to be to have proper growing for the season. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and be sure to stay prayed up. That's why I stuttered, because I was thinking, don't forget. Be sure to stay prayed up and be thankful, and remember guys, make it a great day. So all I'm liking is a couple more bags of soil, which I almost got, but I'm going to be honest with you. When you go pick that stuff up, they leave it out there in the rain, and it's so heavy. When I say heavy, I'm telling you, I almost not got one of those bags picked up off the pallet and put it on my cart. And so I got them to get me some help to put it on my truck, because I was like, oh no, they could do better than this. They could build a little something over to keep this stuff from getting so heavy. But you know, when people buy it, it doesn't know any difference. They think they're getting a lot, when in actuality there's not that much into those bags. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on to the next video.